Hello and welcome from the St. Louis Park High School Gymnasium. I'm Bruce Oberman along with Phil Frk and Katia Dragotis. And tonight it's the St. Louis Park Orioles taking on the Breck Mustangs in a non-divisional matchup. Phil, and it'll be interesting to see how St. Louis Park matches up against a team like Breck, who may play at a little bit of a different competition level than what St. Louis Park has played so far this season.
Well, just watching it more, they have a nice sized team. They look very athletic, and the first-year coach, so that'll be interesting as well.
And we have Katia Dragotis with us this evening. And Katia, you have Breck is in your heart a little bit.
A little bit. I am an alum, so I'm not biased here, but I know a little bit about the team and the history.
We have the starting lineups being announced on the court for the Breck Mustangs. It's number 2, Garrett Opperman, Dustin Bergerson, Will Culleton, Mo Lawal, and Henry Cousino. So it looks like, and for the St. Louis Park Orioles, as they're announcing them alternately, we're just going to go through the lineups here. For St. Louis Park, it's going to be number 3, Wesley Johnson, averaging 5.5 points per game. For the Orioles, number 21, Nicholas Chose, averaging 10.5 points per game. Number 25, Ray Whitlock, averaging 16 points per game. Number 33, Jason Keller for the Orioles, averaging 4.5 points per game. And number 51, Ryan Dahmers, averaging 7.2 points per game. Head coach of the St. Louis Park Orioles, Dave Breitenbucher, and the head coach for the Breck Mustangs is Rick Webb. St. Louis Park coming off a loss against Hastings, where they lost 68-53, and for Breck, they also are coming off a 80-79 loss to a Brooklyn Center team that fairly good competition there. So again, the players to watch for in this game for Breck, Will Culleton averaging 24.5 points per game, and Mo Lawal averaging 20.6 points per game. Katia, you did a little bit of research beforehand, and maybe you can add a little bit too.
Yeah, I know Breck has had a little bit of a struggle in the past with a lot of their coaches. This is, again, like you said, a first-year coach. They've had a rotation throughout the few years. But what I've heard from the coaches pregame is that these guys have a high basketball IQ, and they have a really great team effort here. So I think they've got great size, and they've shown that they can play some competition. So it'll be interesting to see from a bigger standpoint.
Justin Bergerson, a 6'8" player for Breck. We'll see how St. Louis Park handles his height as he'll jump the ball up against Dahmers, and the tip controlled by Breck.
Well, Park is used to playing against some pretty big players when they played Eastview or Eastridge, 2 6'9" players, so they're well aware of big, tall post players.
Lawal with the basketball, guarded by Keller, and Keller is going to pick up the first foul of the game. So first team foul just underway here in the first half. 0-0 our score. St. Louis Park in the black uniforms, Breck in the white, and the pass into Opperman. He drives inside, gets it to the big guy. Bergerson can't get it to go, and it's tipped in. Looks like that was number 23, Lawal. Good backside tip in there, Phil. Chose loses the basketball, and here comes Breck on the run. Number 21 is Culleton. Stops, puts it up, doesn't go. The rebound by Dahmers. Now the Orioles, Johnson has the ball into the front court. And Johnson airballs that one, and basketball to Breck.
Breck has really been able to rebound offensive boards tonight, so early in the game, but it's going to be a trouble for Park because they're really going to have to block out.
So the other thing we saw in the last game we did is St. Louis Park really moved a lot, and And, you know, it was 5 or 6 passes before they had a shot. And we haven't seen that yet, but I think they're going to get into it.
That's exactly right. I was going to mention that, Bruce. Park did a really nice job the game we saw them in moving the ball, good spacing, and being very, very patient.
Keller from up top of the arc for 3, doesn't go. Good rebound by Whitlock. And the Orioles will reset. This is Dahmers handing it back out to Whitlock. Johnson, and he travels. So another turnover for the St. Louis Park Orioles. 2-0 the score as the Mustangs will start up in the front
Wesley
court.
had a little trouble with that last ball game too, dribbling, getting it a little too deep. This time he wanted to pass off, but he just couldn't seem to get it off.
A rebound by Whitlock. He brings the ball up into the front court. Chose works his way inside for the basket.
Whitlock saw that wide open pass. Nice bounce pass right into the lane. Good heads up play.
So we're knotted up at 2. Bergerson back up for the wall. The wall doesn't get the shot. 2-on-1 break. Whitlock finishes.
There again, a nice 2-on-1. In fact, the 2-on-none is a beautiful fast break, textbook.
Orioles with their first lead of the game, 4-2 the score.
Park has always played a really nice man-to-man defense. In the last game we watched them play, they help each other. They have a good sense of where the ball is. Stop the ball on the dribble penetration.
Nice looking shot by Colleton. Colleton averaging 24.5 points per game as Orioles turn over the basketball. Phil Colleton, 18 of 30 from 3-point range.
I'm sure they've talked about that.
That'd
be in the scouting report, so we want to keep an eye on him.
Now 19 of 31. That's a great percentage from regular range, not let alone 3-point range. No charge call on that one as 2 players go down. Ball back into the front court for Whitlock. He's going to wait and let the Orioles. But it was tipped right to Johnson. Misses a layup, goes out of bounds, and it's going to go over to the Mustangs.
Who would they give an assist to on that had he made that shot? That was something you don't see very often.
Mustangs getting a lot of shots right now. So. We've seen St. Louis Park turning the ball over a few times here already. For the Mustangs, they haven't turned the ball over, but they missed a few shots early on. There's an open jumper, and the rebound to Chose. Gets it to Whitlock into the front court. Whitlock drives to the basket, and he draws the foul.
Park has done a nice job in transition early in the game. I think this is their 3rd or 4th time they've come down with numbers. This time they got fouled.
So Colleton is called for the foul. Whitlock missing the first. Colleton in the corner, works it inside Bergerson, and the foul is going to be called on Keller.
Bergerson is a big body inside. If he gets that ball in the paint close, he's either going to get a good shot or get fouled, which happened this last time.
Well, second foul on Keller. So the Orioles will need to sub. Michael Howard comes into the game. Also, number 43, Jack Lynch.
Howard seems to add a little extra spirit to the game. Picks up the pace.
Nice play inside and a good finish by Dahmers.
Ray Whitlock then penetrated, saw an open player by Dahmers. Good pass, nice decision. Dahmers went into space that time, so he was easy, easier to see. Nice bounce pass. That's what you want to look for when you dribble that ball into the paint.
One thing Breck is doing is pushing the ball up the court quickly. So.
Well, Park is also, they're getting numbers down here, but Breck is coming back on defense a little quicker.
Nice move by Whitlock. Just didn't get it to go. Nice rebound by Dahmers, and he draws the foul.
Dahmers kept that ball alive. Nice head and shoulder fake, and did get the shot off.
Mo Lawal picking up the foul for Breck, and that's going to send Dahmers to the line. Ryan Dahmers only a sophomore. St. Louis Park 1 for 3 so far from the free throw line. Orioles by 2. Tough shot as driving the baseline that time was number 21, Colleton. And now a foul called against the Orioles. This will be their 4th team foul. And that foul is going to be called on Lynch. That's his first foul.
Actually, Lynch tried to get out of the way on that last play.
Pass was denied. Mentioned Ramad Bowman is in the game now for Breck.
Park looks good in transition early in the game. They're coming down. It seems like they do have, numbers each time.
Wide open in the corners. Whitlock for 3, and he hits.
Close made that happen by dribbling in, penetrating.
Well, that time Bowman got off balance. And Chose drives it the other way.
Wow.
And Orioles quickly.
It calls for a timeout by Breck. That was a beautiful shot Chose made. He's left-handed to start with, and so it was a perfect position.
Guys, I have a little fun fact about Ramad Bowman actually on Breck's team. He plays football for Breck, and he was actually awarded the E.J. Henderson Award for Outstanding Student Athlete, both in the community and on the field. So E.J. Henderson stopped by Breck and honored him specifically.
E.J. Henderson from the Vikings.
Yes, exactly.
Linebacker.
Yes.
Thanks, Katia.
You're welcome.
Appreciate that info. And St. Louis Park building a 13-6 lead here. Scoring so far for the St. Louis Park Orioles, Ray Whitlock leads Orioles with 6 points. Nicholas Chose has 4, and Ryan Dahmers with 3 for the Mustangs. Will Colleton with 3, Mo Lawal with 2, and Justin Ferguson with 1.
Park's game has changed just a little bit. Before last game we saw them, they came down, were patient, 5, 6, 7 passes around the perimeter, looking to score. This time they're in more transition, getting fast breaks, causing fouls. Park looks pretty attentive tonight.
So see after the timeout what Breck tries to do differently here. Cousino. Inside pass, and the shot is good.
There's a mismatch inside.
That was Miles Olowu. Here's the steal. And Breck, after the timeout, has scored 4 points and a foul called against St. Louis Park.
Park is going to have to take care of the basketball a little better. This is about the 3rd time they come down the floor and made a cross-court type of pass, easily picked off.
Foul called on Howard. That's his first foul. 15 foul for St. Louis Park. Two-point St. Louis Park Oriole lead. 12-10 left here in the first half. Whitlock loses the ball.
We haven't got the turnovers, but I think Park probably has 5 or 6 at this point.
I think you're right, Phil. And again, we haven't seen too many turnovers for Breck. We've seen missed shots, but as I mentioned, just as I say that.
The kiss of death, here we go.
Right.
We can do that every time.
Teller and Zhang come check into the game for the St. Louis Park Orioles. Howard, and he loses the basketball. Reverse layup didn't go that time by Breck's number 4 Bowman.
Howard says if I'm going to lose the ball, I'm going to go down and rebound at the other end, which he did.
Whitlock, that was a tough move. He had 2 defenders staying in the lane that time. And hitting the 3 on the other end for Breck was Colleton on a great shot.
Colleton's their leading scorer, right?
So Breck with the lead. After that timeout, Breck has scored, I think, 5 or 6 unanswered points and almost a turnover by Zhang. Whitlock, he puts up the 3, doesn't go. Nice rebound by Zhang, but he loses the basketball. Howard could have got called for a foul there, and now he does.
Coaches hate to see that, Bruce, following so mid-court, unnecessary.
Johnson back into the game for the Orioles. The foul on Howard was his second foul. Colleton hits again, this time inside the line.
That was a very pretty looking jump shot. Held it up there, just beautiful rotation.
So are we seeing a zone defense against the Orioles here?
They've switched a little bit, but right now Park is just trying to move the ball from side to side, looking for
Howard almost had another foul that time. You know, the play was there. Whitlock almost had. Now he steals the ball back, and he's going to get called for the charge.
Yeah, Breck doesn't even hardly have a chance to get set up in their zone. Park is attacking the basket so fast.
7th team foul for the Orioles.
And actually, it's their own demise right now because they are dribbling off their own feet.
We saw last game, too, the Orioles picking up quite a few fouls, more than other teams. And right now, they have 7 fouls compared to 2 for the Mustangs. Coming up with the steal that time is Chose. Here's Whitlock. Nice move. Couldn't get it to go, but it was a nice play by Whitlock. Oh, Howard went up high for that one.
What an athletic play that one. He looked like a wide receiver.
That was almost like the Odell Beckham one-handed catch.
Park just has to kind of take their time, settle down, and make good decisions here. Breck is in that 2-3 zone.
Chose will take it from outside, doesn't go. The rebound, pulled down, almost, again, another no call. Opperman does a good job to get back on his feet, hang on to the basketball here. The wall. You know, Breck's done a good job, Phil, to get back in this ball game when they were trailing, and now they're the dominant team at this point.
Breck has not turned the ball over very much tonight. They're making good decisions. They're getting their ball into the big players inside, usually getting a good shot. If they don't have that shot, they do kick it back out and they get an open three. So they're playing very, very well tonight.
One thing I've noticed, and obviously you probably know more than I do, but it seems like the rotation of the players is not as much as what we saw in the last game, and even last year, where the players are really rotating and moving a lot more. And typically we see a lot of passes and not taking the quick shots like they're doing right now. I think not only are they taking maybe a little bit quicker on their shots, but they're also trying to force the ball across the lane or trying to force the ball inside of the lane, and that's causing turnovers for the Orioles.
Yeah, and I think really what happens, Park got into foul trouble so early that they had to make quicker substitutions than they normally do. And they're probably not used to playing, with that set lineup so early in the game. That does make a difference.
Well, it shows it's that one. Those are what you call long layups.
Yeah, that's his signature shot, that left-handed over the shoulder, old-time shot, actually.
Almost a little bit of a hook, layup type shot. Yep.
They used to call it a George Mikan shot.
Double team inside.
3 second. Travel,
yep.
Park did a nice job defending him on that because they did take, players off ball, went in and collapsed on him, he had nowhere to pass it to.
.7:57 to go here in the first half. Orioles trail by 3, 18-15 the score. Driving down the lane in the basket, and a foul. Chance to tie the game as Ray Whitlock now has 8 points in the game, and he'll go to the free throw line.
That's what they used to say, put your ears back and go to the board, and that's exactly what Ray Whitlock did that time. He went really hard to the basket.
Lawal picking up his second foul. He'll be replaced in the lineup by Alowu. Whitlock now 2 of 3 from the free throw line. And Dahmers will come back into the game replacing Zhang.
Well, it's about as even as it can get. 18-18 with about 7 minutes, 47 seconds left in the first half.
Fouls are at 7-3 right now.
Park has stayed in his man-to-man defense the entire game.
Dahmers will pick up the foul for the Orioles. That's his first foul. So the 6'8" senior at the free throw line, Bergerson, and hits the first. Now 2 of 3 from the free throw line.
Bergerson is a big presence in there, just like this last time. He got the ball deep in the paint. Very difficult to stop.
Back to a 2-point lead now for Breck as Orioles into the front court with Johnson. Now they're moving.
And Breck went back to their man.
Chose missed the shot, but you can see a nice backside rebound inside. Dahmer's hoping he could draw a foul on that one, but
he had an open look. I thought he traveled, actually.
Breck works it inside to Bergerson, and a push off by Bergerson.
You could see that coming. Bergerson did put his arm and shoulder down.
Good defense by Chose on the play. Foul on the Orioles. Dahmers picks up the foul. Nineteen fouls for St. Louis Park. Still 6:37 to go. Neff inside. And Bergeson. Zhang ready to come in to replace Dahmers after Dahmers picked up his second foul. Jose will try another three. Doesn't have the shot going right now. Whitlock did a good job to tap that one out, but into the hands of the Mustangs. Tipped out of bounds by Howard, who's got the quick hands and quick feet. Zhang in now. Breck by 4, 6:02 to go in the half. Free rebounded by Chose. Here comes Orioles into the front court. Whitlock.
It's going to be a big possession for Park right now if they just take their time.
And Whitlock hits the three.
That's his favorite spot on the floor, I think, right there in that half corner.
11 points in the game for Ray. Driving layup by number 2. That's Garrett Opperman, his first 2 points of the game. And the Orioles come back with Chose. Doesn't go. The rebound was pulled down by Cousino, and here comes the Mustangs into the front court quickly. There's a three, and it's good. It's such a beautiful shot by Colleton. He now has 11. We mentioned Colleton was 18 of 30 coming into this game from three-point range. I think he's 3 of 3, Phil, as the wraparound didn't go by.
Well, that'll bring up his percentage a little bit from about 80 to 100.
They're not all set shots either. He seems to be on the move. And we're going to get a foul on Bergerson over the top. That'll be his second foul. Couple substitutions into the game. (27-21) Breck, biggest lead of the game at 6 points. Ball tipped out of bounds. Last touch by Breck.
I think this is
Richard Green in the game now. Number 15. Whitlock in the lane. Lynch back up top to Whitlock, and now Green. A little bit of a weave going for the Orioles. Whitlock takes the three, doesn't go. Zhang was there for the rebound, but it was pulled out of his hands by Lowe. Breck leading by 6 with the ball. Good defense that time by Whitlock, forcing Colleton back out. And Green gets called for a push, and that's going to be foul number 10 on the Orioles, so that's going to be 2 shots. Ramad Bowman will go to the free throw line.
Park right now has had a difficult time getting good shots. Even though they've been able to move the ball well, they just don't seem to have a good look at the basket. Credit that to Breck's good defense.
Well, St. Louis Park without Keller and Dahmers in the lineup, and the rebound by Zhang. Bounce pass too low. Not a good pass that time by Green. And it's taken by Colleton into the front court. Inside, and the turnaround is good by Lawal. And it's now a 9-point lead. When you look at this lineup, it looks like the scoring's got to come from Whitlock, Phil. I don't know where else they're going to get
right now, it's going to be tough. You're right.
And Zhang had his arm grabbed that time. Howard will replace Green. I think Chose will come back into the game as well.
Right now, Park looks like they're just a little disorganized. They're not quite sure who should get the shot, where they should get it from. As a result, they're forcing the ball, trying to get that bounce pass deep in the post or on the baseline, having difficulty.
There you go. Nice play into Chose.
It's been a long time for Park. There's been a drought. And 2 minutes to go in the half.
Let's see if they can get some momentum here at the end of this half.
Breck is just kind of taking charge. They're getting better shots, getting inside.
Well, yeah, Bergerson out of the game. They're 6'8" player right now. Nice spin move. They worked their way into the lane real nicely, and Cousino is able to close it out.
Park players didn't really drop down and help either that last time.
Zhang underneath, had it stripped away.
Just lost your water, Bruce.
That's right. It's a hand-eye coordination.
Yeah,
I'm trying to grab the ball up here and it hits me in the leg. 32-23, we're down to minute 10 remaining. Katia will have Coach Breitenbucher at the end of the half and see what he has to say. It's going to take a few adjustments by the coach. Inside drive and a block, so chance for a three-point play by Wes Johnson.
I don't know how many times tonight, I haven't kept count, how many times Park has been able to dribble penetrate and try to dish off, and we lose the ball on the bounce pass or through their hands or an ill-advised pass. The idea is good, but the execution hasn't been so good.
Still a chance to cut the lead down to 6 if Johnson makes this free throw.
A player that's, receiving the ball after dribble penetration has to kind of get into space a little bit so the dribbler can actually see him and give him a good pass. But it seems like Park they're too tight in the paint.
Orioles came up with the rebound on the missed free throw attempt. And another foul called inside. St. Louis Park in the bonus now.
Well, 2 free throws would look pretty good at this stage of the game.
Howard making the first free throw. And Michael has hit 2. And the lead down to 5.
Well, I think Park would be satisfied if they could go into the halftime locker room with a 5-point, down 5.
Well, if you're Breck, you're going to hold for 1, but they're going in pretty quick here. And a foul called against Breck. That's the second foul on Colleton. I think he went in too early, Phil. 13 seconds ago, he decided he was going to go right to the basket.
Yeah,
and now the Orioles could really have momentum if they can put another ball in the hoop
well,
here.
they played right into Park's hands, but that's a good time. The players have to know again what the time is, how much time, how the score, situation type of thing.
It was blocked. Chose with the rebound, and it's good.
Oh, that's what we call our 6th man at St. Louis Park. How many times have we seen that happen? Kind of a secret weapon.
So, Phil, we're going to go down on the floor to Kadia with Coach Dave Breitenbucher. Kadia?
You guys got me out? All right, Coach, you've had a pretty aggressive, you've been playing pretty aggressive this first half, but Breck's staying with you. What do you guys have to do in the second half to get back on track?
We just have to do the little things. Boxing out, we missed a couple box outs. We had some ugly turnovers. We got to get more together offensively. I need more leadership. I mean, we have good kids. I'm proud of how they're playing. It's just that we have so many little things we got to work on.
Who are you looking to take the leadership role in the second half?
Well, Wes Johnson's our leader right now. I mean, he's a senior. He's a captain. The problem is I got 3 other seniors out there that need to step up too. It's not just on Wes. And Ray Whitlock's playing a really good game. He's got to exhibit more leadership. I mean, we just just examples. They come down on the defensive end. We need somebody to speak up and talk and communicate and get a stop.
Great. Thank you so much.
All right, Kadia. Thanks for getting that interview for us. And we're at halftime here from St. Louis Park with the score Breck 32, St. Louis Park 29. Stay with us. One more basketball coming up shortly.
Mom was diagnosed with Alzheimer's at 58 years old.
For me, it was heart-wrenching.
It takes a toll on everyone. I mean, it's a depressing disease to watch unfold before your eyes.
You just don't see just the person's soul's like gone.
This disease just ravages a family.
It changes your life.
The magnitude of it is indescribable.
Now is the moment. If we work together, we can stop this epidemic.
Contact Bright Focus and learn more.
32-29 our score as we get ready to start the second half. Orioles will have the basketball here.
Well, the last minute and a half was good for Park by closing the gap a little bit.
And a nice start as Keller hits his first 2 points of the game.
It's always nice to get that first 2 points after the half to come out. Those are big. They sort of build up your morale a little bit, give you a little extra spark.
And another foul inside on the Orioles.
Is that Dahmer's?
Yep, his third. Yeah, it's hard for a coach. You get your starting 5 in, and again, you have to sub right away.
Well, that's too bad.
So 2-point lead for Breck as we're in the second half, just underway.
Well, see if Park can handle the ball a little bit better. That's the same thing we're talked about. Driving in and trying to make that dish-off pass too much, too fast.
Fortunately, the ball was deflected back into the Orioles' hands. Whitlock down the lane. Keller was unable to get the shot off and missed on this end by number 21, Colleton. There's a three. Stop. And it was kicked. So St. Louis Park will have another opportunity here as we saw the St. Louis Park Orioles sideline. Keller, and he hits the three.
That was a nice set play.
Keller averaging almost 5 points a game, has 5 in this one.
We haven't seen Keller take that shot very often.
Well, a turnover by Cousino as he gets called for traveling. So Orioles now up by 1 in the basketball. So we'll see if that little momentum that they got at the end of the half carries them on here in the second half. Wide open again, Keller, same shot he hit before. This one just off the iron. And the rebound into the hands right now of number 2, Garrett Opperman. Opperman guarded by Johnson. Coach Bryden Bucher calling for leadership here in the second half and hoping that Johnson can provide that.
It's a tough fall on Keller, actually trying to get out of the way by backing up, but when you're moving, you're going to get that call every time.
Well, and that's Keller's 3rd foul. And Josiah Morrow comes into the game for the first time. There's another traveling. That's the second time in a row that Cousino is called for a travel. And he's a little frustrated. This is Chose. Long pass over the hands of Johnson and a turnover for the Orioles.
Well, that's been Park's weakness tonight, is being able to complete that pass. Good ideas, but just haven't been able to execute.
Still a 1-point game. Orioles in the lead. That's good defense that time. As Colleton was unable to get the shot to go. Back up top. And Colleton is fouled, and he'll go to the line shooting 3. That's I don't think that shot was going to go, but Colleton doesn't miss too many of those threes.
Well, that was a long shot too. It was probably about 8-10 feet behind the 3-point line.
Colleton with 11 points in the game will put 3 up. Averaging almost 25 points a game. You can tell guys have that shooter's touch, and he's
yeah, he's got a nice lift on the ball, good rotation, just real smooth. Beautiful arc.
Sinks all 3, now 36-34.
Mark likes to run this kind of a weave or a figure 8, as some people call it, and then go to a backdoor cut.
Double team inside, and Zhang's struggle a little bit tonight when he gets that ball inside against the double team. Culleton misses the shot. Nice rebound that time by Morrow. Johnson takes it all the way to the hoop, draws the foul.
Now Wesley had the right idea again. They penetrated, he was looking to dish off, and then decided to take the shot, which was a good decision.
So the foul called on Opperman. Johnson goes to the line. He'll shoot 2. Now 1 for 2 from the line. Alowu comes into the game, replacing Bergerson. And we're knotted up at 36. You can see Culleton wants the basketball here. And now 3 put up, in and out. That was taken by Lawal. Nice rebound. And the putback is good by Cousino. So Cousino had a couple traveling calls on him. Doesn't travel that time as he puts in the basket. There's a force pass inside to Zhang. Tipped out of bounds. So it's fortunate they'll get the basketball back here. Nice play by Chose.
Chose does a really nice job attacking the basket on the baseline. He gets a good penetration.
12 points in the game for Chose. We get a foul on the other end. Kadia.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of curious about what you guys think Park being in this new Metro West Conference has affected their play, and you think it's a benefit for them at all?
Well, it's hard to tell. It's too early, and this is the first year, and so I guess we'll have to let this whole thing play out. But both teams are comfortable in the leagues they were in, but we'll have to see. We don't know.
Howard back into the game now for the Orioles. Six in the game for Lawal, and it's now a 2-point Mustangs lead, so back and forth here. Trying to save it, and right into the hands of Opperman. And the basket made by Lawal. Howard spins inside, dishes out. Shot too much on that one by Morrow. Goes out of bounds, and Orioles looking to sub in. Go back to their starters here. So Keller, Dahmers, and Johnson back into the game. Actually, Chose started for the Orioles will take a seat on the bench, so Howard will remain in the game. Nice turnaround shot by Alowu. He's got 6 in the game, and back to a 6-point lead now for Breck. Howard puts up a 3, doesn't go, and not a good foul by Dahmers. He was beaten to the rebound that time and went over the top. That's number 4. And again, he's a sophomore, but he's going to have to learn a little bit.
Well, we'll see if Coach leaves him in. Looks like he's going to take him out right now, which is probably a good decision.
Yeah, Chose didn't get much of a breather that time. He's going to have to come back.
They need Dahmers in the lineup.
Well, it was a good move to get inside by Johnson. Just couldn't finish it. Good hustle by Keller, knocking the ball out of bounds, and Chose replacing Dahmers. And we'll get a timeout by Breck with 12:36 to go. Katia?
Yeah, I'm kind of curious also how you guys have seen the improvement from the first. It's still early in the season, but what improvements you've seen on this Park team, especially in this game?
Well, Phil, I don't know about you, but we've only really had a chance to watch one of their games so far this year. But
Well, I think Park, Park is still trying to find some identity. What's happening to them right now is that just about the time they get a good lineup going, somebody gets their third or fourth foul, so they have to take it out. So they haven't really had an opportunity to play with their, with their big players. Hopefully, as time goes, they'll settle down and maybe not make those fouls. But I think that, we will know after vacation where Park is.
Well, a lot of their points have revolved around Chose and Whitlock. It seems like they're trying to find places where maybe they can get some additional scoring. And, that's where they've struggled to find the other players that could score. They got Keller hitting a couple shots right to start the second half. But then we haven't seen Whitlock really put up any shots here so far in the second half.
Right, they do need some consistency, no question about that. But it seems as though they're their worst enemy. Just about the time they make a rush, they'll throw the ball away, make a bad pass, make a bad decision. So they've got to clean those things up.
And we don't have a statistician keeping track of turnovers, but I would say that that's been the nemesis for St. Louis Park in this game.
And the turnovers have come on trying to make assists, so they're forcing the ball a little bit.
Yeah, some nice drives to the basket. Breck, we're seeing some good athletic ability there. And again, that was a uncontested shot. It just didn't go by Keller.
Had a good look.
Orioles trailing by 10 now.
Well, I think this is Breck's biggest lead, 10 points.
Well, we're seeing Breck is able to work the ball inside more and get to the basket.
They have been, and of course, once they get the ball down inside, like they did the last opportunity, Park players didn't drop down to level the ball because it's, they're trying to guard, the three-point shot as well. But I think now they've got to help out on the post players.
Orioles get a break here on a charging call. But again, it was the turnover on the last sequence was the same play where they bring it inside and they try and pass a bounce pass across the lane that's deflected and intercepted.
Well, and like Coach mentioned at halftime, they seem to not be very verbal with each other as a team. I think they really need to step it up and make sure that they're communicating with each other.
Hardest thing for basketball players to do is talk on the floor.
Michael Howard down on the other end, Michael, and we're gonna have a stoppage. I didn't see what happened to Michael, but he went down. Looked like he may have gotten hit in the face. And,
I couldn't see if he was an elbow or the ball or just what, but he's a tough kid.
Yeah, it looks like it was just a little wind knocked out of him right on the cheekbone.
Well, you're right about talking. Every coach in the world wants your players to communicate and talk, and for some reason they get on the floor and the mouths go closed. So it's a tough effort. But that's where your leadership comes in.
Defensively here, Phil, what are we seeing from Breck?
It looks like they just went into a zone. I'm not sure what it is. But
And another turnover. Colleton hits again.
Wow.
That time he didn't really even set himself. He picked up that ball and just quickly tossed it.
All in one motion, you bet.
Chose with the basket, and the Orioles will take a timeout.
Going back to that communication, it really starts with your guards and Wesley Johnson. He really needs to make sure that he is being aggressive and making sure that his whole team hears the plays. I really am not hearing much communication from him at all down here.
So in St. Louis Park, again, when you watch the game, you think St. Louis Park having to work a lot harder for their baskets. Breck seems to be getting the ball inside the paint and having a little bit higher percentage shots. And St. Louis Park has gotten themselves a little bit of foul trouble in this game, and unfortunately Dahmer's being out hurt St. Louis Park quite a bit.
Well, just like this last play, Park worked so hard, to get the ball. It was kicked off about 3 players, off of a knee, off of an elbow, out to a Breck player who picked it up off the floor, went right up and shot. And that's the way the ball has been bouncing tonight. Park is not through lack of effort. They're working hard at it, but the ball is not rolling their way either. Well, this is where it's gut check time right now, down 11 with 10 minutes to go. This is going to have to be a defensive effort, really, if Park is going to come back.
And Breck can be patient now. Pass inside for Bergerson was stolen by the Orioles. Shows drives to the basket, doesn't get it to go. And again, only 1 shot for the Orioles. They're not getting the rebounds either right now. There's a block by the Orioles.
Chose did a really nice job blocking that shot.
Spin move, the shot didn't go. Again, Phil, if you're Breck, you're saying we don't need those kind of shots.
No, absolutely. They're kind of their worst enemy, too.
There's another, almost turned over.
Went off a Breck player's foot.
Yeah.
Well, again, Park has to take their time. There's plenty of time left in this ball game. They just have to make good decisions.
Oh, again, Lynch.
Well, Lynch telegraphed that pass. You could see that from here. He looked at him and then tried to make the pass.
Now we have an injured player. Culleton. He went in hard to the basket thinking he should have been fouled. $19 points in the game for Culleton. Howard will come back in. Look of an illegal substitution. Well, they stopped the place. They're saying the player needs to come out.
Park's always looking for that backdoor cut.
The tip.
Well, I kind of quit even trying to count on the deflections off of Park's dribble penetration and then a pass.
Well, we haven't seen Whitlock at all get the basketball here. That's what's surprising to me. Joe's short on that shot. So I don't know if Whitlock has actually put up a shot here in the second half.
I don't think he's touched the ball.
We get a timeout as this game's getting out of hand. 55-40, it's a 15-point lead.
Well, again, as we've said earlier in the game, Park right now looks offensively looks quite disorganized. They're not sure who their go-to player is. Like you say, Whitlock hasn't touched the ball. They are attacking the basket, but then when they get into the paint is where they run into trouble.
When you get a game like this that's really just starting to get out of hand, is it time to bring Dahmers back into the game?
Well, it's, 15 points down, 8 minutes to go. Yeah, you have to gamble right now, I would say. And the coach is going to, I'm sure he's telling his players, we've got to get to, make stops. Every time we have the ball, we've got to go down and at least get a basket or at least get 1 point. So you chip away at it. You're not going to get 15 points in one possession. So you have to start making stops and then be productive on the offensive end. So that takes smarts to play. It takes, big effort. And that's what Park is going to have to do.
Breck has done a really good job defensively against the Orioles in this game. Even though the Orioles have turned the ball over, Breck stayed in the lane. They've stayed in their place. And if you look, they've only committed 2 fouls so far in this half. And a lot of that's attested to, forcing the Orioles into the turnover situation.
Well, and also when those deflections are made, Breck is going to the loose basketball. They're getting, a lot of free basketballs more than Park.
We didn't know what to expect when we watched the sophomore and JV games. They were real one-sided in favor of St. Louis Park. But varsity-wise, right now, we're seeing a 13-point game. Nice play by the Orioles to get that ball into Chose.
Wes Johnson made a nice pass, but Chose also was an opening, in the open area, which is a big difference.
Dahmers ready to check in. Here's Johnson, has Chose almost traveled with it. And a 3 doesn't go. And the save into the hands.
Everybody was holding their breath on that one.
And we get a timeout called by Breck here.
So St. Louis Park seems to be looking pretty cramped down low. What do you guys think that they need to do to kind of spread the ball out more and get some more open shots out in the paint?
Well, that's their offense, really. That's what they strive for, is to try to dribble, penetrate, and dish off. But it's not happening well for them. Yes, we agree. If they can dribble, penetrate, and kick back out to an open player, they will get an open shot. But so far, they haven't discovered that.
Next game for the St. Louis Park Orioles is going to be Saturday, December 13th at afternoon game against Mound West Tonka. That's a 3 p.m. game. And the next game here at St. Louis Park will be Tuesday, December 16th with against Minneapolis South. Long inbound pass. Opperman catches up with it and will start up court for the Mustangs. Howard deflects it out of bounds. Johnson going for the steal that time. And we're going to get a foul. This is Dahmers, and he is fouled out. Dahmers hasn't played too many minutes in this game. Is there a replay on that, Paul?
Well, Dahmers played hard tonight. He did a good job. It's just that he got in foul trouble so early.
So Zhang will come back into the game for the Orioles. So I venture to say that Dahmers probably may have played 5 minutes in this game.
Yeah, it's too bad because he's kind of the heart and soul of the blue collar players on this team.
So Breck in the bonus, and Allahu makes the first free throw that brings the lead back up to 14 for Breck. a pair of free throws. A 15-point game. St. Louis Park still doesn't need to panic at this point. They have to try and get good shots on offense here, Phil.
Just good execution. Get to the foul line.
Again, forced across the lane. I don't know if Zhang would have been able to do anything even if he got that basketball inside there.
Well, the player receiving the ball really has to, that's the only half of it. You got to take two players to, make a completed pass. So the open player has to find an open spot and get there in, not behind the glass. And sometimes we get too deep.
One of the rare shots that Whitlock has had, and that one was just a little short. Opperman hits.
That was a gutsy shot.
And the foul called on Cousino. Whitlock off the mark, and we get another foul called against the Orioles here.
Well, it's a good idea right at this stage. Park has to get a little aggressive here on defense.
Look at that pass. And a couple attempts and finally put in.
That was very unusual. Let's give Park a little credit for being tough.
Jump ball. Possession arrow in favor of the Mustangs. I don't know if Coach Breitenbucher saying that's a pretty quick call on a jump ball.
Yeah, I don't know if that's what he was talking about or not, but he kind of pointing down towards the basket. I'm not sure. Well, it's starting to get a little physical now.
And again. So the 1-1.
Well, the referee is going to check this right now, so they didn't want this to get out of control, so you might as well call a quick foul. And it was a foul, of course.
Garrett Opperman to the line. He's got 5 points in this game and misses the front end of the 1-1, but the rebound by the big guy Bergerson. 18-point game. And Johnson fouled. Cousino doesn't like the call.
Well, it's hard to get to the rim with this team. They've got some big guys standing under there, and as a result, Park has really struggled tonight.
Cousino's teammates did a good job to pull him back from arguing with the official. You don't want to get a technical in this spot of the game.
Right, yep.
Wesley Johnson 2 for 4 from the free throw line.
Well, Park has been a little successful with their, with their press, putting a little pressure on the ball.
That was blocked. Ferguson, and he's fouled.
don't realize how big Bergeson is until he gets down under the basket. He's a shot blocker, protects the rim.
Averages 8.5 points a game. This is his second free throw of the game. He's 3 for 5 from the line. 7 points in the game. Jason Keller back in the game for the Orioles. Orioles with 10 fouls, so hard to foul to try and get back in the game when you're giving up 2 free throws every opportunity. No rebounders there.
That was tough. Well, Breck is, with 5 minutes to go, they don't need a quick shot.
But they're going to take it and get fouled.
When you lose your composure, you kind of lose it all, and that's sort of what's happening to Park right now.
Maybe a situation where Culleton hits such a high percentage of his threes that if you don't contest it, he's going to hit it anyway. So we've seen he can hit his free throws.
Well, he's one of the best shooters, I'm sure, in the conference.
20 points in the game now for Culleton. 66-45, a 21-point game. Chose missing the shot. I think you can just see the confidence level of the Orioles right now. Is Culleton, the 3.
Well, he's not going to quit shooting, that's for sure.
Good effort by Chose. Chose the leading scorer for the Orioles with 16 points in the game. Only the 5th team foul on Breck.
Well, Breck has really, lost only one game to Brooklyn Center, 79-80. So they're a team to be reckoned with, no question about it.
Cody, do you see the frustration in the faces down there?
Yeah, they're also looking a little bit tired on this end, kind of getting back on defense and running around. They definitely see out of
He's got the hot hand now.
Yeah, he needs to get his average up there. He's averages 24.5 a game now. He's well over that. 6 3-pointers in the game. 28 points for Culleton.
Well, he's found his niche here tonight. He likes this gym, no question about that. Well, the clock can't run fast enough for Park right now. Park played really well at different parts of the game, when they made a few runs and, distributed the ball, got good shots, especially early when they got transition, they were looking good. And then it just seemed like things started to slow down and they made a few bad passes and it sort of just took the air out of them.
Well, I think for the Orioles now, it's just you got 4 minutes to go. Just try and play your best and see if you can end on a positive note.
Well, this is gut check time. What kind of competitor are you? And this is where it shows in the last parts of the ball game. Do you fight to the end or do you give up? And hopefully we'll see our Park kids, come on and just, scrap for the floor or for the ball, dive on loose balls and play hard. One thing in a game like tonight, they've got their young players sitting on the bench from, I'm sure, summer leagues or wherever these kids are playing for. So they want to see their high school heroes play hard, and you know they're an example for them. So
there's a nice hustle play by Howard.
And that's what Park is doing right now. They are playing, you know. Got a little energy. And that's where that leadership comes in that we haven't seen too much of yet tonight. But right now, somebody's got to step up.
Yeah, I think Howard's done a pretty nice job being such a young player, stepping up and putting in all of his effort. He's really been running and jumping for those balls.
He adds a spark to this team. You're exactly right. You can see it when he comes in the game. The tempo picks up.
Also, Bruce and I got to see him a lot this year on the football field.
Okay.
Also plays for Orioles there.
Good all-around athlete. Can be a big player for the Orioles in years to come. Got the band here tonight still.
And they're a good band.
Step it up, but yeah, they are. They're doing a great job.
It's kind of fun to see the young kids come out and play, you know, that adds to the school spirit.
Yeah, they've got a pretty decent student section going on for a Tuesday night, too. They've been pretty vocal tonight.
Well, it's nice to see them follow and, you know, support their friends, you know, that are playing, whether it's basketball or soccer or any sport. To, you know, have the school support them. It's important.
(72-53). Breck looking to inbound the basketball. Opperman. Trapped underneath. And the foul. So Cousino looked like he was going to be trapped underneath the basket with not an opportunity to shoot, but the Orioles didn't hold their ground and picked up the foul that time.
Yeah, they allowed him to go all the way to the basket, too. You're defending that, you've got to get your foot all the way to the baseline. To stop him, you got to get there first.
Cousino with 7 points in the ball game. 1 of 2 from the free throw line. Johnson. Orioles trying to rip the ball away, and again, the Mustangs will go to the free throw line. One and 2 for Bowman. Cousino picking up his 3rd foul. Howard goes to the free throw line again. 5 for 5 for Michael Howard.
Well, Park has to just play good, hard, solid defense, and you know, without fouling. Fouling is not going to help them right at this point of the game. They try to get an interception, force a turnover.
So down to 3 minutes.
Of course, Breck is in no hurry to, put the ball up either, so they're going to go into their...
And they go to their weave now.
Yep.
In the game for the wall.
Well, I think we have to give credit where it's due tonight, and Breck did play a bit, a nice basketball game. They have nice, solid players, good outside shooting, big post players. So they're good defensive as well as making good decisions. So
I
we'll
think
see how they do this year.
I think they're going to do well in their conference. Little physical activity there. Jason Keller saying getting that rebound one way or another. And again, Whitlock comes out of the game. He's replaced by Thomas Burnett. Burnett, a senior. Breck still keeping some of their starters in there. Been a technical.
No, I'm not sure what they, what it's for though. We didn't see really much direction from the referee.
Guys, from down here, it looked like a little something with number 43 on Breck.
Some words exchanged, that might be where it's from.
Sometimes it's when no one's at the free throw line becomes a little tougher.
Really, yeah.
He's got his routine there.
Yes, he did, yeah. Timing was everything.
That's down to 18 points. What a spin move.
That was a beautiful move. Early on, he would have tried to make that dish off. And this time he kept it, made that spin move. Nice, intelligent play.
First field goal of the game for Howard. He's got 5 free throws to go along with that, 7 in the game. It's down to 16 points, 2:33 remaining. Patty, what do you think of that move there?
For being such a young player, again, he has great composure on the court and really slows things down, makes smart decisions. Beautiful play.
But what's important here is that the Orioles haven't given up. They've got a lot of fight in them, and they're still playing hard to the end. So.
Well, that's what you hope as a coach. That's what you want to see. Like you were saying, there's some leadership on the floor, fight to the last minute.
Bergerson trapped and into the front court 2-on-1. Wisely, Breck takes it back out.
Well, it's a three-player weave and two players, you know, just posting up and like trees, you might say.
And a foul called against Breck. Long three missed, but Chose comes up with the basketball. 22 in the game for Chose. Still for the Orioles. Inside, Burnett, nice pass across the
Carbon copy of the last basket.
12-point game.
Okay.
They get it into single digits here.
Well, you know, sometimes that press can change a game.
Oh, unfortunately, not a good pass.
Well, that's kind of the story tonight. Every time Park does something good, they sort of erase it with, you know, making a bad decision, a bad pass. Not that they're not playing hard. It's just that they just get into that funk once in a while.
So turnover is a momentum killer.
It is tonight.
Yeah. He just can't hit that three, Morrow. Again, he had a good look at it. They were able to get Morrow open, but he hasn't been able to hit any of those today. 76-63, 13-point game with a minute 14 to go. And Lawal back to the line. Lawal's another good-looking player, Phil, averaging 20 points a game this season. A little under that today.
Well, he's a pretty physical player, too. I mean, he's got a nice build, nice jumping ability, good spring.
Well, Johnson couldn't get the shot to go. Press put on by the Orioles. Opperman dribbles into the trap. The wall. Pass across for Bergerson. And we'll get a jump ball. This one will go to the Orioles on the alternate possession. Under a minute to go, 50 seconds to go, 15-point game.
Oh,
that was. Howard saying, "Get me to the free throw line."
Would you say he's 5 for 5?
He is. So 8 in the game for Howard. Howard's fouled out. So Morrow comes back into the game, replacing Howard with 41 seconds to go in this game that's taken a little bit longer than normal. We've seen a lot of fouls. We're seeing Johnson just really taking it to the hoop himself the last so many.
Well, you know, right now that's probably the only thing he can do, and just hope to get to the free throw line.
Seven in the game for Johnson. And the wall. Traveling called with 25 seconds to go.
Well, I think Park they're going to learn an awful lot from this game tonight. Just the fact that, that when they started, get a little physical at the end and start pressing, that, they can make a comeback. Oh.
Exclamation point by Bowman.
That kind of tells how this game went right there. 68-82.
Phil, we saw St. Louis Park, the couple spurts, they started off the game strong, they ended the first half strong, but in between, really Breck just did such a great job, and St. Louis Park was, turnovers proved costly for the Orioles.
Now, no question that Breck was the better team, just did all the way around, outside shooting, rebounding, free throw shooting, everything. But Park, to their credit, did not quit in this game. They made several runs, like we talked about earlier. Really, they were their worst enemy in making a lot of bad decisions as far as making bad passes. But on the other hand, it's very difficult to get to the basket.
Katia with Coach Brighton Bucher, a tough game for Coach and Katia.
Yeah, Coach, you guys got into foul trouble early on in the game and lost Dahmer pretty early there. How do you think that affected your composure throughout the game?
I don't know how much it affected us. I mean, we have guys on the bench that can come in and, they can do their jobs. So, I mean, Ryan's got to be a little smarter with some of his fouls. I mean, I love how hard the kid plays. But he had a few fouls that he's just got to back off a little bit. But no, I mean, we're okay. It's early. It's early December. We got a long season. We got a lot of things we got to work on.
Yeah, you guys played really hard up until the last seconds there. What improvements did you see that you guys can work on to move forward into the last game?
Well, I think the togetherness. I think I kind of mentioned that at halftime. I think as a team we have to talk more on defense. We got to show more leadership, and we just got to play together. And if it'll come. It's a long season. So.
Thank you so much.
All right. So Katia, thanks for getting the coach there at the end of the game. Again, final score tonight from St. Louis Park is Breck 82. St. Louis Park Orioles 68 on behalf of Phil Frick and Katia Dragotis, I'm Bruce Overend saying so long from St. Louis Park.